Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another straight up solo, and in this episode we're going to take a look at Nucleum. I'm going to show you how this game plays from a solo standpoint, then I'm going to explain to you what I think about it. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that support. So first, I got to apologize. I've got a cold. I've been suffering it for a couple days, but I really wanted to publish a review, so I don't want to wait any longer because this game, spoiler alert, is fantastic. So bear with me if I cough a little bit or I sound a little stuffed up. This game has a heck of a footprint, as you can see here. There's a lot going on, and so some of my player board is actually trimmed off in this video, but it's not a big deal. It won't be anything that'll be distracting. You see most of what you need to see up here, and what you don't see down here is just a couple extra buildings, a couple of more technologies. So what's going on? This game is basically about powering different industries or city zones, or however you want to look at it, but there's like residential, there's industrial zones, and then there's science labs. And you're doing that by supplying power through networks of railways. And when you power those things, they activate, they flip over, you get some renown points over here, or achievement tokens, and that will let you gather these up until you decide to do a recharge turn, and then kind of contribute them all to this track over here on the left, which will be a big part of the end game scoring for the conditions that are variably displayed over here. And there's multipliers on this track. And so that's a big part of it. The other big part of this is that you are gaining points based on contracts. So there's a variety of different contracts you can take, and then some universal ones that you can fulfill should you get to that spot. When you take a contract, you put it over here on the side of your board, and you'll get an immediate bonus, and then when you fulfill it, you'll get the reward in the contract as it says. And the other thing that you do is you have to build down and establish your network. So to do that, you are playing these tiles, and these tiles are double-sided. They have two actions on the front side, and then when you play them for a rail, they become a rail on the back. What's interesting about this game is that these action tiles are what drive the different things you can do in the game. And when you play the action tile on the board to become a railroad, you effectively forfeit it and lose it for the rest of the game. But you can get tons more over here in the offer when you do the develop action. And so you are basically balancing the difference between having good tiles versus playing them on the board. When you play them on the board, if the color of the tile matches the colors of the zones that you're playing them on, you will get to take one or both of those actions if they match both of them. So for instance, if I have one like this, this has a purple and also a wild. So if I played it in this configuration right here, that wild would be activated by this because it's any color. So I would be able to do the industrialize action. And since this is a purple city, I'd be able to do the energize action. But I also have to have a worker to place on this area. And in doing so, that expands your network, it builds your presence, and it allows you to get things done, okay? Most importantly, it sets up the transportation network between your mines or the coal mines that are off the board, the power plants, as you can see here, and the actual industries that you want to power. Now you can power your own industries, or you can power the neutral ones. And when you power something, like I said, you will activate it, you'll get achievements, you'll flip it over, and for the different things, the residential ones will boost your worker track, the industrial ones will boost your economic track, your money track, and then the research lab will allow you to research different technologies. And in this game, there are 4 different groupings of technologies, A, B, C, and D, and that gives you the variable player power aspect of this game because these technologies are drastically different from one another as far as what they focus on. So that is just a general overview of what you are doing in this game. And like I said before, the actions you can take are developing, which gets you more of those tiles, You can do contracts, which gets you the contract, which will give you a little bonus, and then you will fulfill it for points, money, developments, those kinds of things, or pardon me, research. Industrialize, which is where you either build turbines, which are what these are, or mines, which is what this is. And you can see this mine still has some uranium in it while this one's exhausted. You can do the urbanize action, which is where you build any of the 3 types of buildings, and you can build them in any order. You don't have to build from level 1 to level 4. You can build a level 3 if you want right off the bat, or a level 4. But the challenging part is yes, they do cost a little bit more, but more difficult is that it requires much more power to get them to flip. And so building something really strong early may be difficult because the board might not be developed very well. Now this is near the end of the game. I'm probably just a mere couple of turns away from triggering some victory or some end game conditions. And I'll talk to you about those in a second. And then finally, energize. And energize is basically the action of taking uranium cubes from your mines and importing coal through a complete connected network to a single power plant, using the turbines that are there to generate power if you need to, if you need extra nucleum cubes, or uranium cubes, pardon me, if they have a nucleum reactor on there. And doing that to generate the power in order to pick a city in the same open network, and whether it is inside your network or not, the city has to be available. It's got to, of course, it's your city, it'll be in your network, but you can use the other power, or the other lines of other players to do the transfer. So for instance, I could take this coal, or this uranium, pardon me, all the way over through here, through this connected network, and into this power plant if I wanted. It wouldn't matter because even though he and I are different players, the rail lines are established. So ultimately speaking, yes, there are a ton of similarities with the game Brass in this game. And there are also a ton of similarities with the game Barrage in this game. Barrage in the fact that you are providing power. When you provide power, depending on how much you generate, you get these different tokens of these achievement tokens, which will help you on these bonuses. And I think that's probably the strongest part of the Barrage engine. The turbines and the turbines and everything else also kind of fit a little bit with that as far as kind of the power generation ideas behind it. But I would say the game feels more akin to the feeling of Brass and network and expansion and trying to build specific things in specific areas and flip over those things by powering them. However, I want to be very clear, this game feels like its own beast because of the way that these action tiles work. So these action tiles make this game feel completely unique, in my opinion, because there are so many choices to be made based on the different types of, you can say, well, they're just like the cards and those other in Brass. Well, not so fast, because there's 2 actions on each of them. And you have to decide whether I want to play them. And if I play them over here, that's how I fulfill my contracts. You can't fulfill a contract by playing it down as a rail. And also when I do my recharge turn, you can't get any of these bonuses unless you have played a certain number of action tiles to basically unlock things. So for instance, right here, I have full access to all my unlocked tracks. But if these 3 were gone, I would only be able to access up to this spot right here. So it's important to be playing those as singular actions and not just as rails to establish the network. But this game then takes it to a whole nother level, because the way you're actually scoring points is completely variable from game to game for the most part. Sure, you definitely score points for the same buildings that you build, but these 4 majorities and how they score are different every time. The contracts you decide to fulfill are different every time. And the way you go about it is just, I think, very unique. Now, you can play the solo game on the 2-player board like I'm playing, or you can flip it over, excuse me, and play it on the 3-player board by using 2 sets of tiles, because this is basically the set of tiles that is driving the mechanics of the solo player. These decision cards help with priority, and they help with understanding what he's going to do it in little bits, but mostly what he does is based on these. So I'm going to go ahead and play a couple turns now so you can kind of see. And the turns are pretty quick, to be honest. Now, it will take, this game has a learning curve. Don't get me wrong, especially the first time, trying to understand where the bot is going to build and how he's going to work. That first game is going to take some time. However, you'll be surprised by the time you're done with that first game how much you understand and how little you have to look at the rules after a while. Because it becomes intuitive that he's going to try to do things that would be generally the best strategy. It's not a very strange or wonky way of managing the bot. He's basically an optimized player, so to speak. So let's go ahead and begin. Now, I have a couple of railroad guys here, and I really want to build into this Praha city because that doubles the points you get for activation at the end of the game. And I have a contract that reference, if I just build one city in Praha, then I can activate one of my level 1 technologies. And to be honest, in this game, I haven't done a very good job focusing on technologies, and it's probably going to bite me. But I focused a lot more on these tracks, trying to maximize them. And you probably could do both if you're really clever, but I'm not that clever yet. So, okay, so what I want to do is I want to play a rail here, and this is a red space, so it's going to cost me 2 coins to do it. So I want to see, well, what's the best one I can play? Well, the best one I can play would be a match to a green and any color, because this city is wild in and of itself. And because I'm trying to maximize these tracks and get more contracts to try to finish the game kind of with strong moves, I'm going to be able to play this one right here. And I'll be able to do it like this. So I'm going to play it over here. It's going to cost me $2, so that's or 2 tailors, whatever. So I put the guy down there. Then it moves my person track over 2 spaces, okay? And then it allows me to choose a contract of whatever I want. Well, I am at the precipice here of some different things. So first of all, I have 15, 20, 21. So I'm someplace right in the middle here. Probably too far away that a number 2 is going to bump me over, but I really would like to put a marker up here because I built a lot of mines. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the contract that is a pretty simple one to do. This one I can almost do right away. It's very easy, low point value. However, this one I can do right away because it says provide power to 2 cities or to 2 buildings. Well, I've already done that. So I could do that on my next regular turn, not a rail turn. I'm going to put this in a spot off the camera you can't see, but it gives me 2. When I set it down, it gives me 2 of those achievement tokens right away. And that's going to help me. Plus, I have a technology over here that says when I build a rail like I just did, I automatically get another achievement token. So now I am sitting at, let's see, that's 20. I'm sitting at 24. I'm much closer in striking distance. I want to get to 28 to be able to maximize what I've done at mine over there. Okay, because this is now a completed rail, I flip it over. And if it had been a rail of 2 or more, there would have been some inauguration bonuses, but it wasn't. It was just a single one, so that's it. Now, what did that do? That allowed me to extend my network over here in Praha. And one of the unique things about this game is you can build your rails anywhere to establish new networks. It's not like Brass where you have to expand from a single point and go outwards. You still can only build buildings in your networks that are properly established after the first building you put down. However, the rails can be built anywhere. Okay, so I've done that. My turn is over. Now we're gonna go ahead and roll a die. It gets a 4, so we're gonna boot. This would be normally our 4th spot, but because we can't activate this one since it's past the stop, the roadblock tile, he's gonna activate this one. This is Energize +1 plus Industrialize. Now you have to look and see, does he have copies of the Energize and the Industrialize action on this side in any other tile, anywhere? And yes, he does. So that means he is going to build this as a rail. And then where is he going to build it as a rail? Well, the first thing he's going to try to do is build it in a place that would be able to complete a network. If he had a network that was almost done, which he does not, then he would do that if he could at least match 1. Since he can't do that, he's going to try to place in a spot that's going to match both sides. Well, purple to purple doesn't really exist. So since he can't do that, he's going to try to extend an existing network. And then what you do is to figure out, well, where is he going to do that? Well, it's going to be from a purple city. Now, which one? We have this city, or this city. And he has a network he could expand from here, here, or here. That's where these cards come in. You flip it over and you see this, and it says the tallest, so the highest number down. So this is number 17, 11, 4. That means he's going to build it right here. Now, which one is he going to prioritize? Because he's only going to be able to activate one or the other. Thankfully, they made that easy. They put it right in the back of the book over here. And he's going to prioritize industrialize. Okay, so he's going to build this like this, put his worker down like that, and then he's going to do an industrialized action. Well, what's he going to do first? He would build whichever he has fewest of left here. Turbines or mines? Well, he's built all his turbines. So the only thing he has left is mines. Now, what's interesting in the way this evolved this game is he had a really hard time building mines. In fact, he didn't do it until just now. This is the first mine he's built because he was missing some key intersections up until just a few turns ago. So he builds that mine, he flips this over, and that costs him $1 or 1 taler. And that is his turn. Okay, so it comes back to me, and what I'm going to do now is I want to try to build an industry in this area. The only problem is I don't have any industrialized actions. I only have energize, I have industrialize, I don't have urbanize. I need to urbanize. Well, I can't get the actions I need, even though they're out there. I don't have a tile that allows me to do that. So instead of doing what I really want to do, I have to take a recharge turn. So to do a recharge turn, you follow these steps. First, I look over here, like I said, it's limited to where you are right here. So I've unlocked everything. My markers are at such a spot where this unlocks everything over here, so we're in good shape. So I will first get $12 or 12 talers, all right? And then 4 points. So score 4. And as you can see, I'm a long way back compared to the Baron over here, who was in the 60s. Then I'll take 4 workers and score 4 more points. Then I will take 11 points, and that's really nice. So it puts me up to 36. Now I will count, and I did not quite get enough, so I could have maybe tried to eke out another one, but I just didn't have the stuff to do it, so I'm not going to fall. I'm going to fall a little short of where I wanted to be. So I've got 24 of these achievement tokens, which is going to put me right here. And that's not bad because I'm powering lots of different cities, but I really wanted to get higher because that would have rewarded me with an immediate level 3 technology. Either way, I get to put this Nucleum someplace on the board, and there's only one place left, which is right here. But this is convenient because it gives me another uranium in one of my mines that has capacity, which would be nice right here since I want to try to power something. Now, it could have been over here because the same network connects, and even way over here because it connects because it's late in the game. Excuse me. But this one is legal because it's got 3 spots. Okay? So finally, I take all of these tiles back, and they go back to my hand. And so you can reuse all of the tiles up here for future turns. Now, I said the game ends in specific ways in this game. One of the ways the game ends is if, well, 2 of these conditions have to happen in a solo game. One of the conditions is we've drawn all the contracts. I should have replaced it last time. We've drawn all the contracts, and there's nothing in the deck right here. Another way is we've drawn all these tiles, and there's nothing in the deck right there. Another way is both myself and the bot have done 3 recharge turns. You can do more than 3, but if we've done 3, and he starts with 1 out there, so he still has 1 left to do before it would trigger the end of the game. And then the final way is somebody has, well, there's 2 more ways, sorry. You've built all of your 8 technologies, and in the multiplayer game, somebody's hit 70 points, but the AI does not trigger that because he's always going to hit 70 points the way he scores throughout this game, at least in the beginning. It's not going to happen. So we'll go back to him. We'll see what he's going to do. Now, I'm rolling the dice just because it's silly, because he knows he's going to do this. And this, again, is one that counts for a rail because he has a contract action over here, and he has one of these energize actions over here, so he's going to put this back on the board. But if he didn't do that, he would take the turn as normal, and he would just bring it to the back of his stack over here. So what this is going to do is he's going to, again, find out where he's going to put this. He's going to try to put it in a spot that will complete a network. And in the case of what's going on here, you know, and also, by the way, I finished this one up here. I really should have accidentally, he would have extended that network. He would not have completed it because he only completes if it's 2. He would have put this over here. So when I counted up, I forgot that he's going to extend the network unless he gets both matches. Like this. If he gets both matches, he's going to put it in a spot that completes it. Also, just to be clear on that, he did do the industrialize. He will not do this until there's a match right there. So what he's going to do on this turn, he's going to complete that action. He's going to put it over here. That's going to put his guy over here. He's going to choose a contract that gives him the most points right off the bat, which is this one, because this gives him 8. So he's going to take this contract right off the pile right there. Now, I forgot last time to recharge to discard his contracts. You're only supposed to have him take 3, so he doesn't do a runaway take of them. But that I didn't do that last time, so I remember that now. So now he is going to energize twice. So the way he energizes is a little bit different. He doesn't necessarily worry about, he never gets any uranium on his mines. He does kind of a streamlined energize. So first he's going to find a spot where he wants to energize. And that's going to be a government building, if he has one, in his network. And he does have an unenergized government building in his network. He's going to find it. Where is that build? There it is, right there. So he's going to do that. That's a level 4. And so the way it reads is, he's going to import 4 coal, no matter what, as long as he can get to it. Well, he can, because it's a level 4 building. So he imports all these 1, 2, 3. He doesn't pay for them. And 4. So this just drives the price of coal imports up. Okay, so he does that to power it. Now he gets 1 point for every turbine that's in his network, regardless of whatever power plant he used. And so in that case, he has these in the network, this in the network, and that in the network, all through his guys. So he's going to score 4 points. Now, if he had used a Nucleum mine, which he did right there, he gets 1 point for that mine, having built it as well. So he scores points in a different way than we're going to do that in ours. And then he flips his building over right here. And he won't get any rewards or anything like that. He's just going to get that at the end of the game. Excuse me. Excuse me. Now he's going to energize again with this other side. And he's going to look for, since he has no more government buildings built. No, actually, that's not true. He still has one more built. Did he activate it already? Let's see. Right here. So he has this one built. And if I had to figure out which one takes priority, I could have flipped the card over. And that would have told me that he would have done the research lab first. It doesn't matter, it's immaterial now, but that's how you use these decision cards to try to figure it out. So he's going to do the exact same thing in the exact same way. It is a level 4. He's going to wipe out the coal, because I shouldn't say wipe it out. You never lose the supply. Now they just all cost 3. And he is going to still score the same 5 points like he just did based on those calculations that we did. And he's going to be able to score this building at the end. If he didn't have any government buildings, he would then go to the lowest of his buildings, do that, and then if he had none of those, he would energize a neutral. Now that he has done both of these things, we flip over the rail, and his reward's a little different. Instead of bumping up on any victory track, because he doesn't have it, he just gets 1 point for each rail that he has in the network, so he gets 2 points. All right. So what's going to end up happening is, and I'm going to stop playing here, I'm going to take another turn, then he is going to, because this is right here, he has no other choice but to do an energized turn. And when he a recharge turn, pardon me, when he recharges, we're going to basically get to the end of the game. And how he scores is he keeps all the points that he has. He'll score all the building points that are out there in the normal way that everyone else would, except on these categories, he scores this times 2, this times 4, this times 6, this times 8. And that's how he scores. So he adds all that up, plus all the scoring on the board for his activated buildings. He also, in his last turn, will always energize twice to just basically try to wrap up everything he possibly can. Because, like I said, the game's going to end it won't end right away. He'll do this. That'll be one condition. But then shortly after, either I'm going to end up pulling the plug over here or taking something. I'm going to try to stall it, but it's not going to last long. He may end up right away taking a car. It's just going to be quick. So either way, I think this gives you a good flavor of the type of gameplay we're looking at here. Network building, a little bit of transportation, not pick up and deliver. It's just like transportation, energizing things, variable scoring over here because there's 8 different of these tiles and you only play with 4 of them. A whole bunch of contracts and variable action tiles, which dramatically change what you're able to do depending on the situation at hand. All right, so let me tell you what I think about it specifically now. Okay, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. I absolutely love this game. There's no doubt about it. And I'll tell you why. But before, I'll point out a couple things that I don't, they're aesthetically problematic in my opinion. Number one, I don't like how they did the research board because mine, they're very thin. And when you put the research tiles in, they go into like a slot and then they slide over in a slot. But when they're in the slot on the left, they kind of bend the thing to kind of accordion out. I just don't like that because I'm OCD. That's about the only bad thing I have to say about this game, period. I love the theme. I love the gameplay. I love the choices. I love the actions. I love how competitive the bot is. I also love the fact that I know that I'll be able to outsmart him eventually when I start to really get better at the game. Because of the major scoring on the left side, this with those different things that score big points, it takes a very sandbox experience and gives you the clues of what you should be focusing on. But just because you know you're going in that destination does not mean that the road is completely laid out. To get there and to do that is where the fun lies. And that has to do with everything from the kind of actions you choose, the development tiles you pick, the technology you decide to unlock sooner rather than later, the tightness, the very tightness of the workers and of the money, the very tight game, especially in I'd say the first 2/3, really. Yeah, you saw me take that recharge where I got a ton of stuff, right? But that's at the very end of the game. If you want to do well, I don't want to spoil any of my developing strategies, but all I can say is this is not a loosey-goosey game. This is a very tight game, which I really like. I like the fact that the solo bot can be played. If you want to play with 2, you can play with 2. And it doesn't require anything but more time. The decision space and everything else is the same. It's going to just give you the opportunity to flush it out if you want a little bit more of an interaction instead of a complete take that, which is really nice. It doesn't even use a different deck. You're using that deck just to make some slight decisions when it's time to choose things versus driving your actions. What drives your actions is rolling that die and choosing the tiles that the bot has. And just in general, the amount of stuff that's built into this game that can make one game feel different than the other as far as what strategy you have to go after. Now, the game in and of itself is not going to change majorly. You're always going to have to build certain things, to power certain things, develop a network. All that is the same. But it just depends on the method at which you do that, which is what is so fantastic and fascinating. Because they use the different variable contracts, the variable scoring conditions, the trying to eke out the most achievement you can to try to get to the top, if you can, to get to that extra category to score there. And you can't double dip on the categories. So once you've scored there, you have to go below it if you're near or not to the next one. Just some really, really, really masterful decisions here. And absolutely, I think that they built this on the shoulders of 2 giant games, right? Brass is a fantastic game. I love the game. My only problem is they never made an official solo. Yes, they've got the Mautoma and other things like that. And that's okay, but there's a lot of overhead in that, which is fine, but I wish that they had allowed a full-on bot to be done like they did in this one from an official standpoint. And then Barrage, a game that I really like, although that one has a tougher to understand solo mode, it is a very good game, and I love the cascading effects in that game. Those 2 things I see like they built on that foundation and made this fantastic industrial game, which is Nucleum. And I tell you what, this one is easily in my top 10 games of all time. Even just having it, I know I'm going to play this one over and over, year after year, time and time again. And if with any luck, maybe they'll make an expansion that will, maybe offer some additional buildings or some additional research. But I don't feel like it needs it. There's plenty of content in there. If they do, you can guarantee you will have my money. But there's plenty of game in this box right now. So I think it's fantastic. I think if you like the theme and you like this kind of gameplay, you should definitely check it out. It is a bit of a sandboxy kind of game, but it's very much informed by the scoring conditions that are right in front of you as far as how to score well, which is good. The other thing I'll mention is I think that the 3D insert for the pieces is more trouble than it's worth. I'm going to remove mine, pack it up in bags, and be done with it. It's just too much fiddliness to put it in and take it out. It takes longer for me to put the game away and to set it up. I mean, I think it's a cool idea, no doubt about it. See, some people really like those things. It's just not for me. I'm all about speed when it comes to getting it out and speed when it comes to putting it back. But regardless, great game. I give it my highest remarks or highest ratings and regards. And I hope that if I've already pre-ordered it, that you see this video and you're excited to get it to the table and you work through that first game. This is not a short game. This is definitely a 2-hour game, no matter what. It says 60 minutes to 2.5 hours for sure. I mean, as I get more familiar with it, maybe it'll come down to 1.5 hours, but 60 minutes will be pushing it. That'd be a breakneck, like blazing, I think, quick, very, very fast on doing what you're doing. I think you're really looking at 90 to 2.5 hours here, but such a great experience to enjoy when you get to it. So thanks again for watching. Obviously, I love this game, and hopefully I showed you enough to see if you will like it or if you will say, I don't think so, it's just not for me. That's always my goal here. So regardless, whatever you decide to do in the future, you know that I always hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.